Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. We are here to talk about seamless online firearm sales, and we're really going to take you through the entire process from click to compliance. So we have a lot of dealers. I think we have about 200 or so dealers who registered for today's event. Dealers from all over the country, dealers of all size, from one gun store or even selling out of your garage to dealers with multiple storefronts and regionally. So wherever you sit, whether you're using Celerant software yet or not, whether you're working with FastBound or any of the gentlemen on the call today, our goal is that you learn something and take some nuggets back to help your business. So before we jump in, a couple of quick things. We are recording this session, and so after the live session, we'll send the recording out to everybody who registered. And also, we encourage questions. So on the right side of the GoToWebinar pane, you can drop any question in the question pane, and we will save time at the end to go through and answer each and every question. So please ask away. So with that, we will jump in. I'll just quickly introduce everybody, and then we'll each introduce our companies in just a moment. We have Aaron Keating here, who is the VP of Technology at Lipsey. So thank you, Aaron, for joining us. We have Jamison Collins, VP of Sales at FastBound, and Travis Glover, Chief Operating Officer from 4473 Cloud, also Silencer Shop. And then my name is Michelle Salerno. I'm the CGO here at Celerant. So we'll jump in. Of course, everybody knows Lipsey, but Aaron, introduce us.
Sure, thank you, Michelle. My name is Aaron Keating, CIO and VP Technology at Lipsey. So Lipsey's, we're a full-line shooting sports distributor based in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We've been in business for over 60 years. We serve dealers all across the country, big and small, as Michelle mentioned. And visiting Lipseys.com, you can see we have a full catalog of over 17,000 items, really carrying the heart of the dealer's needs, which are firearms. We carry a large line of exclusive firearms. We carry all the major brands. It's what our focus is and what we do very well. So integrated with Celerant, obviously happy to be on this call to discuss how we can enable your business to be better every day, and what that integration looks like, and go through some of the details. So happy to be joining the call and help our mutual dealers do more business.
Awesome, thank you. And Jamison from FastBound.
Thanks, Michelle. I should be off mute now. My name is Jamison. I'm the VP of Sales for FastBound. We've been in the industry since 2010. Our goal is to make ATF compliance easier for all of our dealers, manufacturers, and retailers. So excited to be on the call today and kind of walk through the e-commerce process and how that works with buying guns online, shipping to the store, and then walking through how to receive it in and showing dealers how we can be compliant.
Awesome. And Travis?
Hello, everyone. I'm Travis Glover. I'm the COO of Silencer Shop and 4473 Cloud. 4473 Cloud specifically is a digital storage repository for your 4473s. Starting as Michelle has up here, 2022-1, so August of 2022, all FFLs are able to now store their 4473s digitally. No more paper, no more boxes, no more dust, no more digging through piles and piles of pallets full of 4473s to try to complete a trace. It's 2025, and we can use technology to do that much more efficiently. I've been in the industry, as you can see from all the gray, for 31 going on 32 years, and the bulk of my career has been on the compliance side of the business. So appreciate y'all having me and look forward to the webinar.
Great. And at Celerant, we do have a lot of our Celerant dealers on today's call, but we have a lot who are not yet working with us. So quick introduction for who we are. We are a retail software provider, so point of sale, e-commerce, range software. Basically, it's one software system that can manage your entire firearms business from in-store and online. So we've been in the industry for about 25 years. I'm with Celerant now almost 20 years. No grays here yet, though. We have 8 offices nationwide, some international as well, and thousands of retailers using our system. We don't just serve the firearm space. We actually were born 25 years ago in the soft goods space. So that brings a lot of benefit to our dealers because a lot of our retailers have, they're not just selling guns, they're full line merchants. So they've got hard goods, soft goods, firearms, clothing, everything. So, our system really brings a true merchandising system for all their needs. We have two platforms. We've got Cumulus and Stratus, those two logos you see on the bottom. So dealers can start small with our Cumulus system, upgrade, add on, and move to Stratus if and when they're ready. And both of our systems integrate with the gentleman here today. All right, so we're gonna jump in. We're gonna mix things up a little bit today for those of you who have joined us in prior sessions. We've all done these sessions together quite a few times. There's a lot of ways in which we integrate with distributors like Lipsey's and with FastBound. And for the purpose of today, we're going to really focus on e-commerce and click to compliance, really walk through the process of how dealers can save time and be more efficient and sell more products on the online world, particularly for firearms. So some of the common challenges that obviously most probably everybody on this call deals with is siloed systems, manual workflows, and the growing changes of consumers in today's market. So siloed systems, we'll talk about that. That's always a big theme of ours on these sessions. And that is probably the biggest challenge that dealers come to us at Celerant with. They're using all these disparate systems, or they're not even using systems. Maybe they're still manual and just using some sort of technology. But when they're using these different systems, they're not integrated, they're not connected, and there's so much manual effort. And the more you can eliminate all that manual effort, the more you can save time, reduce errors, and of course, like it says here, staff burnout and all of that. You can do so much more and you can sell so much more with less effort through technology. And really, this is no secret. It's been happening for years, all through the pandemic. Now moving into well into 2025, younger generation coming in. Even a lot of our dealers, the younger generation is taking over for their father or their their parents. So being able to meet the needs of all the consumers in today's world with all the different online channels, it can really be a challenge. So what we're talking through here today is really the vision, as we're calling it. It's the click to compliance. It's being able to sell online, sell firearms online, and have everything flow in a seamless workflow. Eliminate all those manual processes all throughout and really be able to speed up transactions while ensuring compliance and just selling more products wherever your customers want to buy. At the end of the day, it's all about just having happier customers and making the experience for your staff at your store and your customers easier and quicker, so that everybody has just can purchase with ease and operate the business with ease. So before we jump in to all of this, I'm going to ask a quick poll question here because we have a lot of people on the call, and we want to see who's on the call and where everybody sits. It will really help us kind of guide the direction that we take the conversation today, depending on where everybody's at. So I'm going to, give me 1 second here. I'm going to post this poll, and let's see. The first question is, describe the setup of your online sales. So I just launched that. You guys should see it. So go ahead and select the answer that is most applicable for your business. Describe the setup of your online sales. I don't have e-commerce yet. I have e-commerce, but it's disconnected from my POS. I have e-commerce, but not using distributor feeds or dropship yet. I have e-commerce, but it's not integrated at all. Not integrated with your point of sale, not integrated with your vendors, just it's e-com, but it's its own standalone platform. Or for the rock stars on today's call, I have integrated e-commerce with vendor integrations. So go ahead and select your answer. We're at 65% who have voted. So we'll give it a few more seconds. Don't be shy. It's anonymous. Nobody sees it. And it'll just give us a really good perspective. Yeah, see, this is great because I'm going to close the poll. Well, we still have some people coming in. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close it just for the sake of time. And I'm going to share it. All right, you guys see that, right? All right, so the majority do not yet have e-commerce, which is really good for us to know because that means we really have to take the time to explain a lot of different things here because a lot of you are not yet using distributor feeds or not yet integrated. So it's small for me to see here. I can't see the percentages, but we definitely have a good mix, which is good. So let me close the poll here. All right, guys, tell me if you see my screen again.
Yeah, we got
Yeah, we
you.
see it.
Okay, great. So with that, we're going to jump in knowing that a good chunk of the dealers on the call today don't have e-commerce yet. So this is really a great way to save money, stock less, and sell more. Of course, selling online, that in itself is going to help you sell more and be your 24/7 store. But when you're using distributor integrations and you're able to really sell more products on your website than you would even stock in your store, that's what we really want to talk about today. So let's first talk about unified inventory. And some of you might be thinking, well, how can I streamline my inventory? How can I increase my product offering? And a really, really good way to do that is by integrating with your distributors. So, hopefully whatever point of sale or e-commerce you're using, you can do this with. I'll of course speak for ours, but you can integrate with your distributors. You can pull their product catalogs to populate your in-store point of sale database. But more importantly for e-commerce, you can pull the online product feed, and that is going to fuel your website and really make anything and everything that's in stock at Lipsey's warehouse or any of your distributors' warehouse, you can make it available for sale on your website without stocking the merchandise.
Yeah, Michelle, you bring up a great point and it's interesting to see the large majority of people have no e-commerce or they're fully integrated on both sides of the spectrum. So there's a lot of people here for education. They either want to know how to do it or they're doing it when they want to know how to do it better. So that's good to see. Like Michelle mentioned, integrating our inventory, Celerant being one of our preferred partners, anything you see on our website that you're available to buy, that you can buy on our website can flow into your Celerant e-commerce portal and be customized, grouped, however you want to present that information on your website, really opening up the endless aisle of inventory for your customers to order online and come pick up in your store, and then follow all the compliance, steps that we'll get into after that, creating that, the end-to-end experience that you want. Now, e-commerce does take some investment. You have to have the time and the effort to understand how you're going to go to market, how you're going to handle customer service, pricing. A lot of this is helpful through the Celerant system. They help you get there in a lot of ways, but dedicating the resources is important and being able to serve your customers with the highest level of customer service. So anything you see on our website, like I said, you can flow through and have, barring, since we're talking about store pickups here, all the drop ship rules kind of go out the window. You don't have to worry about what line can I drop ship, what can I not. That doesn't apply because it's shipping to your FFL that's under your business. So anything's really game as long as it falls into the compliance of what you're allowed to transfer. A lot of the benefits listed below, the manual entry of information, we flow all of our specification data as well, and image. So you can help get your e-commerce portal up and running faster. There's fewer errors. We're going to update our inventory a few times an hour. So we're going to keep you up to date as long as, as well as pricing. So to keep you in compliance with that, really opening up more benefits, being able to drive more traffic to your store, really own your zip code. And then if you want to branch out and start selling multi-state, nationwide and build those offerings in, Celerant's got integrations with other platforms. So really the first step, figuring out what you want to do, leveraging a good platform like Celerant, making sure you're streaming with us, and then work through your processes and then start to open it up and build sales that you just didn't have before.
And also, like Aaron said, for those of you who don't yet have e-commerce, by leaning on your distributor and being able to pull their online product feed, it enables you and your website to go live much faster, because the most time consuming part of building an e-commerce website is writing product descriptions, or finding the product descriptions and uploading those manually, finding product images and manually putting that all on your site. When you're pulling the distributor online feed, you're pulling product images, in some cases, multiple images per product. You can pull product descriptions, short copy, long copy. All of that is provided by Lipsey's, and we pull it through the feed and we just display it on your site. So, and you pick and choose, of course, what you want to display on your site. You can also set min-max rules. So, if Lipsey's has a minimum of 5, maybe you don't want to pull it automatically because you're worried about overselling. There's a lot of different areas that you can preset in terms of logic, and our team will help you, but you can launch your website so much faster.
Correct. I've worked with lots of dealers, big and small, and the hardest part of every e-commerce offering is item setup. There's no getting around it. So the more you can leverage the information that we put together, that we can provide, or whatever source, the faster you can go to market, the better you can get a product out there, and then you can start to customize and really fine tune to what you want to look like, but leverage that information and use it to your advantage.
Yeah. All right, so next we'll talk about flexible fulfillment. And so when you're talking about e-commerce, the big question is, well, how are you fulfilling these orders? So the purpose of today, again, we're talking about store fulfillment, right? We're going to show you how a purchase is made on the website, and then you're not stocking it, and then Lipsey's is going to send it to you, the dealer, and then your customer will come in and pick it up. But you can also offer options for drop ship. We're not going to get into all that today because that's a whole nother session, but on your website, you can have an FFL locator, and your customer can choose, and we're going to show you this in a few minutes, but your customer can choose based on their zip code, local FFLs, and the purchase can be made on your website, and then Lipsey's can drop ship it on your behalf to that local FFL and complete those purchases that way too. And when it's all integrated in a connected system, your e-commerce, all these integrations, your store, your fulfillment, everything is all in one system. So in our case, it's all within the Celerant system, and it just helps to streamline everything because it's all connected.
Michelle, I'd like to mention, being store direct shipments, if orders flow through the Celerant system to us, your dedicated Lipsey's account executive is seeing everything that's happening on your account to best manage your orders, group them, make sure we're doing the best, most efficient job shipping you orders, and really manage your account, which is what we're known for, the high level of customer service we offer. So we want to group those best to ship to you, and then handle the compliance portion as well.
All right, so Jameson, take us through compliance and how dealers can simplify the process.
Yeah, absolutely. With going digital in your compliance, if you're using pen and paper right now, and surprisingly, I still talk to a lot of dealers every day that's still writing down their bound books. With digital compliance and adding the firearms into your A&D through FastBound or through the Celerant integration, when those guns come in, it's easy. You create up the product catalog item, you add all the ATF fields, you scan the serial, hit acquire, and that's going to push over into your bound book, ensuring that the FFL information is correct, the firearm information is correct. We're going to take that same information when you start a 4473, and that's what we're putting on to Section A. Then we're going to make sure the buyer fills it out, you fill it out. We're going to eliminate a ton of the errors. We're going to speed up the process to make sure that the sales guy can continue selling, but making sure that they're compliant. So it's going to speed up the background check. It's going to speed up, going through and ensuring that all the appropriate fields are boxed. And then you can either print the form, or hopefully, if you're making the switch, you're going to digitally save it with 4473 Cloud.
Jamie, let me ask you a question. So when the dealer's using a connected system like FastBound, what would you say are some of the mistakes that are avoided, or how is the system being connected, like say with Celerant, how is it helping the dealer kind of streamline that process?
Yep. Well, I mean, if you're using, Celerant, you've got to add the gun. If you're not using their bound book or another solution, you're not actually adding that information that you need in your bound book. So you're doing 2 manual entries, where if it's a connected solution, you're entering it once to your purchase order, and then it's streamlining all the compliance information over to FastBound. So there's not a possibility where your inventory is going to be off, where maybe you have it in your bound book, but you don't have it in your point of sale. So having it synced up is going to ensure that all that information is correct.
Good, got it. All right, and then from there, we're going to get into 4473 Cloud and really how you can digitize everything and store everything in the cloud. So Travis, what is the easiest way for these dealers now to save records and safeguard their business through really your solution?
Yeah, it's really just about having access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to your records, where normally you wouldn't have access to them, right? You'd have to go to the store to look at them. One of the key reasons FFLs were being revoked under the zero tolerance policy, which ATF did just come out, late yesterday with some revised guidance to their field offices on how they will handle ATF audits for FFLs moving forward. But one of the main reasons, or one of the main things that caused dealers to be revoked was not complying with the 24-hour to complete a trace requirement in the regulations. So the easiest thing you can do is store a form digitally and access that form basically 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you have access to the internet, you have access to your documents. Additionally, what storing them digitally does, and Aaron, you're over in Baton Rouge, so when a hurricane comes up out of the Gulf, one of the things you got to worry about is, what do I do with all my records, right? And the reality is, when you store them digitally, you don't have to worry about that, right? We have redundancy built in that is required under the ruling. And the reality is, once you have that digital 4473, it is really forever. Whereas the paper form, flooding, fires, tornadoes, anything crazy that could happen, and you lose your records, which is certainly not ideal. And I'll get back to one thing you asked, Jameson. One of the biggest things you can do is if you're doing paper, you have to start by going digital bound book, electronic 4473, right? That's got to be step one. And the biggest thing, and Jameson mentioned it, but one of the top violations that ATF cites every time they walk in to do an inspection is failure to record manufacturer, importer, or model properly in the bound book. And to Jameson's point, then when you're handwriting that, then you got to now transfer that and handwrite it onto a 4473. So every time a human interacts with the information, you're adding risk to the process. And if you start digital and at the bound book through the POS, right, at the bound book, and then store the form digitally, you eliminate at least 95 to 97% of those errors that can happen when you're completing a 4473. And then our software allows you to make those corrections. We put guardrails up so you can't screw that up either. So when you do have to make a correction to a form, we've got an audit tool that allows you to do that, or I'm sorry, a correction tool that allows you to do that. And then lastly, we have an internal audit function. Actually, we just rolled out about a week ago that allows you to do an internal audit exactly the way ATF does their audit. So you have the scorecard, you do it yourself, you do it on a regular basis, and you keep yourself compliant. And again, you don't even have to be in the store. So for you folks out there that have multiple FFLs, you cut down on travel. You don't have to go anywhere to do these inspections or these audits of your forms. You can do them remotely from anywhere that you have access to the internet, which is basically everywhere, right?
Everywhere, yeah. And I think the stat I most recently saw was like 70% of violations are related to the 4473.
70 to 80, it depends on the year. It fluctuates briefly, but yes, it's 7 out of 10 to 8 out of 10 of the top violations cited by ATF are directly related to the 4473 and it being filled out properly.
Yep.
Or the bound book. One thing to kind of jump on your point, Travis, is that not only do we tie the information on Section A on the 4473 to the bound book, but when you dispose it, we're pulling that information from the 4473 to make sure that the contact information is correct for the individual that filled it out, and that it's the correct serial. I see a lot of situations where somebody can't read the handwriting on a paper 4473 and they dispose the wrong gun. So,
and to add to that, Jameson, good point. In the new guidance from ATF, I don't want anyone to think that zero tolerance has completely gone away. And we'll have a blog out on our website later today, and you'll actually see it in the Dealer Wire tomorrow. So those of y'all that are subscribed to the Dealer Wire, you'll see it in there. But zero tolerance isn't going completely away. And one of the things that can cause you to be revoked is exactly what Jameson just said. If serial numbers are off, that's a very big problem. Anything that impacts, from ATF's perspective, anything that impacts a trace is a very, very big problem. So serial numbers being accurate is critically important. Manufacturer, importer, model, those things are very important as well.
Yeah, and those new audit guidelines just dropped last night, right, from the ATF?
Yeah, it was late afternoon yesterday. I just saw them late last night. And again, it's better than it was under Biden, shocking. But it's certainly not a get out of jail free card. There are still certain things that can still cause you to be revoked on an initial audit for the first audit you've ever had if you're doing things willfully and not in a manner that ATF expects you to be operating.
Right. All right, I'm going to pop up our next poll question here, which is describe how you manage your compliance. So let me launch this. All right, you should see it now. So how do you manage your compliance? I manage a manual bound book and paper 4473s, meaning you're not yet electronic. I have electronic A&D 4473s, but it's disconnected from my point of sale. It's two separate systems that are not connected. Or I have electronic A&D and 4473s integrated with my point of sale. I think a lot of our dealers, or all of our dealers, will likely have that one. I have integrated A&D with E4473s and stored in the cloud. So that would be our rockstar category for the purpose of today's demo, or session, I should say. All right, so go ahead and select. We only have 50%, so hopefully everybody's awake and we're not boring you too much. I kid. All right, we're at 60%, so go ahead and just select. Oh, interesting. Okay. So I'm going to leave it open for a second because we're only at 68%. And the highest percentage so far is I have electronic A&D and 4473s, but it's not connected to my point of sale. All right, close enough. We're at 85%. So I'm going to close this and share it. So 52% have electronic A&D and 4473s, but not connected to point of sale. 23% are managing a manual bound book and manual paper 4473s, and 11% have electronic integrated with their point of sale, and then 14% are doing everything and even storing in the cloud. So that's awesome. Kudos to you guys.
So I'll just jump in real quick on the manual bound book and 4473s. I've talked to FFLs my entire career, right? And I've been a part of FFLs my entire career. I understand the challenge of change and going from something you've always done, handwritten. And I've also had the conversation about, well, we've always done it this way. We've passed ATF inspections. That can be a false sense of security. ATF will tell you that previous inspections that you were not cited on a violation for is irrelevant to a future violation, right? That it's an ATF inspection is not an indicator that you're doing things right. All they're there to do is tell you the things that they decide to tell you you were doing wrong at the time. So just because you were doing something the same for 10 years and ATF hasn't told you it was wrong yet, doesn't mean the next time they walk in, they won't cite you for a violation. And you saying, well, they didn't cite us last time, they honestly just don't care. So using technology will help you eliminate, as I mentioned, almost every single one of the top 10 violations. Go ahead, Jameson, sorry.
I was going to say, you're typically not going to see the same IOI come back. I mean, ATF's trying to rotate it, so you're getting a new IOI to go through and do the inspection. So even if it's the same guy you're regularly dealing with, they're going to swap it up, and they're going to be looking for different things when they come in and do the audit.
It's a valid point. And those IOIs get moved around to different field offices from time to time as well. So having a good relationship with your local field office IOI is great for the moment they're still there or they're doing your inspection. But again, don't let that be a false sense of security.
No. We don't typically see anybody regret switching over to digital and going backwards. I don't know how many dealers I talk to that are afraid to make that switch and this transition, but once they rip that Band-Aid off and they go digital, they call up and say, I can't believe I didn't do this sooner, because the amount of time, effort, headache, frustration that it saves them.
Yep.
All right.
Same with digital storage. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so we're not going to show a demo, but we are going to walk through really what this end-to-end process would look like. We're going to walk through some screenshots and just kind of take you through. We are all more than happy to schedule a one-on-one demo if you're interested in talking more and really getting a live demo. But for the sake of time and just breezing through this, we're gonna show some screenshots here. So we're going to look specifically at one of our dealers, Vance Outdoors, as our example. Of course, we're focused on Lipsey's inventory here. Shipping to store in this scenario, of course, drop ship is an option too, but not what we're going to focus on. And then having your customer make that sale online, come into the store, fill out the 4473 and complete the transaction. So let's walk through that so everyone gets a better understanding of the full process. By the way, questions keep rolling in, so good, keep them coming. We're going to save some time at the end. So this end-to-end process, the whole goal here is to save time, eliminate errors, and reduce risk across the board. So in this particular case, we're going to look at Vance Outdoors. So here's their website. Vance is pulling from many different distributors. So pulling the Lipsey's online feed here. Again, like I had mentioned earlier, the online feed pulling from Lipsey's is pulling product images, product descriptions. That's all pulling from the feed and then just displaying it on your website. It's pulling map pricing. It's pulling on-hand quantity. It's pulling MSRP. And then of course, you, the dealer, you set your own price. In our system, there's pricing rules. So you can set it to be percent over cost, dollar over cost, whatever you want it to be, and then you can just apply it and the pricing rules will go into effect. You can check off to never sell below map. All of that is in the system and within the settings area.
Yeah, comment on the map pricing really quick, Michelle. So as we're talking about automating our systems, the manufacturers have also automated their systems to detect dealers that are selling items below map. So we provide the map pricing on every item that we know about. We try to keep it up to date as often as possible that we know about it from the vendors. Enforcing the map pricing is crucially important if you're going to be in the e-commerce world, if you really want to offer all the items you want to offer. So using that data and having that enforce it to you is very important.
And Aaron, you mentioned earlier, but let's just repeat it again. How often are y'all updating your on-hand inventory in those feeds?
Sure. So about every 20 to 30 minutes, we're able to pull new pricing, updated quantity on hand, whether an item's on sale or not. That way they, Celerant can do the calculations to help you with that. So we're constantly throughout the day keeping that up to date to power whether you say something's in stock or not on your e-commerce website. So you can keep up to date with that. And as orders are placed, we also double check all of it. So we're not going to let you create a bad scenario for your customer. At least you could stop it up front if there is a run or something goes out of stock, some weird timing issue that isn't accounted for. We're not going to let you get in a bad position where you're taking someone's money and waiting a long period of time before you can fulfill it. We're not going to allow back orders. We're going to double check things for you as you go through the process and keep you in a good position.
And I'll add too, depending on the e-commerce provider that you're using, an important question to ask them is, just because Lipsey's is updating their feed every 20 minutes or so, how often does your e-commerce provider pull that information and update the feed? Because they may only pull it once a day or once.
That is very important. Super important to ask those questions. If you're not on Celerant, even ask them just to double check. But if you're not on a platform that's giving you those, can you see the schedule? Is it happening once a day? Do they set up new items automatically? All of these due diligence questions you should really ask whenever you're investigating any potential, e-commerce platform.
Absolutely. All right, so next, product details. So we sort of already talked about this with the product descriptions. All that is coming to your website from your vendors. Again, depending on your e-commerce site, but you need to have the age verification. So, we have dealers who pop it up as soon as you enter the site. We have dealers who pop it up, when you click to put the gun in the shopping cart. However you want to do that it will work. The consumer enters their birth date and they click the box saying yes, that they have checked this box, that they are of age and read all the rules and conditions to the sale, validating your legal age, and is in compliance with all rules and regulations of your jurisdiction. They click yes, they click proceed. Then you can, the consumers can find products easily, of course, through dynamic search tools. We also have things like predictive site search on our e-commerce, which is using AI. A lot of different cool things to help your customers find products faster. That's what it's all about. Consumer puts the firearm in the shopping cart, which is what you see over on the right-hand side there. I just circled the Cordova because, of course, we've got, buy now, pay later options, Cordova being one of many. Add it to the cart. And then in this case, Vance has multiple stores. I think they now have 5 stores. So we're going to pick up in store. So in this case, you're going to want to select the store location that you want to go pick up the firearm in. On the right side here, of course, you could also use the FFL locator, which is what I circled on the right side. Again, not talking about it today, but if you're not close to, if your customer is not close to any of your stores, they can still buy the firearm on your website. They'll use the FFL locator, they'll enter their zip code, and they'll find an FFL near them that then Lipsey's can drop ship, or the dealer will just fulfill the order. And even when Lipsey's drop ships the order on your behalf, your customer doesn't know any different. They think it's coming from you. That's all they need to know. They're visiting your website. You have all these products in stock, regardless of if it's in stock in Lipsey's warehouse or in stock in your back office at your gun shop, and you ship it out to that local FFL, and then the customer goes to that local FFL to complete the transaction.
A comment here, I'd suggest if you do have multiple locations and you're getting this e-commerce, your platform set up, let's do some testing. Let's make sure orders are out correctly to each one of your stores. Let's make sure the information looks correct. This is the relationship we can bring between us and being integrated, is that we can work through these things so that when you go live, these aren't questions that need to be answered legally. It's going to work. People can come in your store. You can route the orders correctly, and you can see how the information will flow.
All right, so let's keep moving here. So next step is actually having your customer complete the sale on your website. So you can have your customers log in, you can let them create accounts, you can create loyalty programs, all those different things to help repeat business and increase ongoing sales. Buy now, pay later, I already mentioned. But ultimately, they're just going to complete the sale on the site, which is what's happening here. And then in this case, they are going to be going to your store to pick up the firearm. And of course, in this case, as we said, you don't stock that product in your store. So what happens when you're using this connected system is the customer places the order on your website, they pay for the firearm on your website, and then that order flows through your Celerant back office system, again, in this case, or whichever platform you're using. The order flows through. What I circled there is it's showing that Michelle Salerno is the customer who was billed for this firearm, and it's being shipped to, in this case, Vance Outdoors, because I'm not stocking the firearm, and Lipsey's is going to fulfill it to the dealer, and then the customer will come to the dealer site to complete the transaction. So all of that happens in the back office software of the retail system and flows through directly to Lipsey's from the software. No manual entry, no having to call Lipsey's or email Lipsey's separately or place an order. It's all happening through the system.
This is also the occasion where if there was a problem with that order, you would be able to see this and take the corrective actions to help your customer and let them know, refund their credit card, whatever that is. Those are rare occasions, but they happen. Everything's going to happen if you do enough volume. So just something to keep in mind.
All right, so Jameson's going to take us through now the compliance piece. I'll stop talking. Go ahead, James.
Yep. So once Lipsey's gets the order and it's confirmed, they ship it out to the store. The store, I believe in Celerant, is going to have a pending purchase order created. It's a special order, if I'm not mistaken. So that's in the system. So it's going to show up. The ATF fields are going to show up over it through the electronic transfers. So that way you're going to get a box, you're going to scan it, receive it in, open it up, and make sure that that serial matches, which is important. Just hopefully everybody is opening boxes and always looking to make sure that the ATF fields are correct and match what they're putting in the system. Once they receive it in with a few clicks, it's in their bound book. They notify the customer, hey, your order's here, come pick it up. The individual is going to come in, they're going to fill out a 4473. It's really simple and FastBound. You go ahead and you add the firearm to section A, lock it, you give them a PIN number, they go over to an iPad, Chromebook. They can scan their ID, they go through and they fill the information out. They have to check all the boxes. We're going to make sure simple things like, I can't put USA in county. I can't put county in county because it's not a valid county in the United States. So we're going to make sure those things are blocked. If somebody's under 21 trying to purchase a pistol, we're going to block that. And most importantly, if somebody answers a disqualifying question, we allow them to sign it. But it's going to block you from fulfilling that order before you even run a background. It's going to say, hey, this person's a felon. This person's not the actual transferee. So we're going to make sure we prevent that. Once the individual's gone through, filled it, you've run your background, check the appropriate fields. You can then recall that 4473 back into Celerant. It's going to match it up to that special order that was created from that online order. You can, finalize that order, and once it's complete, then you can dispose the firearm from FastBound and process the 4473 and send that over to 4473 Cloud.
And so it's all connected, so it's coming back from FastBound into Celerant system, updating all the inventory. It's just in sync with each other thanks to the integration. And then you can see here where the firearm is disposed, and it's just flowing right back and forth between the two systems.
All the information matches the serial, the firearm, the customer. All of that is linked to the 4473. So it's just a matter of searching one of those fields. And then you can click a button and it will link it directly to the saved 4473.
And then, yeah,
Right.
as soon as the transaction is over, it within seconds goes over to cloud. We actually send a confirmation back to FastBound, and then you'll get the notification that it had been uploaded successfully. And then, as you can see on the screen here, you can sort, you can search, you can find any 4473. You can simply type in a serial number, and within seconds have that 4473 at your fingertips. You can download it, send it into ATF to complete a trace. Everything you do with a 4473 can be done in way less time and is way less expensive digitally than it is printing 4473s.
Travis, let me ask you, because we just hosted a compliance panel at our client conference a couple weeks ago in Florida. Travis was there on the panel, and quite a few of our dealers were asking that they wanted to switch their business from paper 4473s and storing it all in their closets or storage area or whatever, moving to digital. What's the process? Like, explain the process for the dealer as far as switching the FFL or converting it all to digital.
You have a couple of options, right? You don't have to get a new FFL. There's nothing requiring you to do it. So what you can do is simply contact the correct bound book and 4473 software like FastBound that best fits your needs. Get started with them, and then we do have to do, just because ATF is ATF and they put a 60-day notification requirement in the ruling, we have to notify ATF ahead of time before you can store fully digital. So for the 60-day window, and theoretically you could have and I don't want to speak for Jameson, but you can have your bound book, doing electronic 4473s and storing forms digitally, same business day that you really want to get started. For us, we can have your account set up in 4473 Cloud within minutes. You can start storing forms digitally within minutes. Again, for the first 60 days, you do have to print a 4473, and then on day 61, you go fully digital. That's option one. Option two is working with one of the consultants in the industry, whether it's FFL consultants or FFL Guard, to sunset your current FFL. So Aaron will remember when we did this at Lipsey's many moons ago, but we needed to get rid of all that paperwork for, I think we had them dating back to like 1960 something, if I'm not mistaken. And the reality is you can only have so much room to put paper, right? Eventually it's going to cut into your backstock. It's going to cut into what is valuable business space. And so you can sunset your current FFL, turn in all of your records to ATF Out of Business Record Center, start over with a brand new FFL, and go digital, completely digital moving forward. So that's option two. And I think, Michelle, we always talk about Jim's, right? When we had this conversation, old Jim was handwriting everything,
For
and he
30
had binders
years.
forever, and he had binders and binders and binders of bound books in 4473s, and he went fully digital, and but he kept the binder, so they're still in his conference room empty.
Yeah,
But-
and the cool part about that story too is, you know, and why did Jim after 30 something years decide to fully go digital? Because his son Dylan was coming into the business and taking over, you know, really stepping in and automating the business, and you know, it is the inevitable. And what I love about that story, when I went down to visit them in Louisiana, was there's a huge closet that used to store nothing but binders full of 4473s. And now, of course, that closet is all cleared out. There's no more paper. And now they call it their suppressor cave. And
right.
it's full of product. Now those binders are still sitting in the conference room for other reasons, not the forms, but the empty binders.
But now they're selling product, right? Now they can stock product, they can make money on, and you know, having the right product at the right time to make those sales, which is critically important.
Travis, I think it would be important to talk about the links you go to and the redundancy to make sure nobody loses a 4473 once they put it in your system.
A great point, Aaron. Thanks for bringing that up. So we back up. Well, there are actually multiple backups. So there's a local backup that we have a tool within 4473 Cloud that you set it and forget it, so to speak. You set a time where all your 4473s digitally will back up to a local computer or a local server. And then in the cloud, we have the original copy that you see every time you log in, and then we have a backup to that as well. And those copies are stored in separate server farms on in separate regions of the United States. So literally, in order to lose a 4473, once you store it digitally, it would basically take, I guess, 3 simultaneous meteorites to hit the store and hit each server farm at the exact same time, right? And wipe them out completely. And the reality is that's not going to happen, right? If it does happen, we have way bigger problems that we need to worry about than 4473s. So we do back them up that way. We back up every correction that's made to a 4473 in the same manner. So again, from a security perspective, you've got all this redundancy, and also when you have paper forms, the security of the personal identifying information that's on those forms is only as secure as the lock on your door, right? Anybody could access those. And I know in my previous time when I worked for a corporate retailer, we had 50 some stores across the country, and those forms were stored in the gun vault, but literally dozens and dozens and dozens of people had access to that gun vault, right? Everybody who worked in the gun department or in the hunting department could get back there. There's nothing stopping a bad character from stealing personal identifying information off of a 4473 in that manner. When it's digital, you completely control access to your 4473s. Only people you trust and want to have access to them have access to them. And it also is the same when ATF comes in to do an audit. You give them a very specific time frame that they can view for 4473s within, and that's all they can see. They can't see anything else, right? So nothing accidentally, they don't accidentally open a file drawer and see something that maybe you don't want them to see, right? So it gives you complete control over your regulatory records.
Yep. Now, I'm not going to read everything that's on this slide here, but at the end of the day, I mean, everything we're talking about is just really all about leaning into technology to help you run your business better and sell smarter and really, I mean, like we always say, do more with less, right? By leaning into all of these different technologies, having everything integrated on, and connected, it's going to help you really save time, reduce all of that extra manual effort, which that in itself reduces errors. Systems like FastBound will literally safeguard you to make sure you're not making mistakes as everything's being entered. So, I mean, we talked through so much stuff here today in this session. It may seem overwhelming, you may not know where to start, but I always just suggest you just start small. Start with one thing and go from there. Whether it's on the FastBound side or the Celerant side, if you're already using Celerant software, just reach out to your account rep and we'll help you get started and just kind of start step by step. And then eventually you can keep incorporating more of this. I mean, we talked about gyms, they were manual for 32 years and now their entire business, every aspect of their business is fully digital. And of course, working with all of us here and more. But it definitely is possible. And if you have not yet started the switch to use some of these technologies that are available, you really should, this is step one, really.
And I think the biggest thing too, Michelle, is from a business perspective is minimizing investment and maximizing profit. And that's really what Aaron integration does for every FFL dealer, right? It is, I don't have to stock 20 1022s. I can stock one for the guy that walks in or two maybe, right? But then everybody else, I can use Aaron's inventory to fulfill those sales. Zero investment on my part. I'm still getting the sale, so I'm still making the money, right? So minimizing the amount of money you put out, maximizing the money you get in. And I think all of our individual pieces of this do that in different ways, but it all starts with what Lipsey's offers with that direct inventory feed and drop shipping.
Yeah, thank you for that, Travis. It is our job to be your warehouse. So leverage it, take advantage of it, and create sales that you just don't have now. We're here to service you and be an extension of your business. So that's our role in the marketplace.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Aaron, how big is your warehouse? How many products do you carry in stock in your warehouse? Because that is exactly what is made available for each of you to sell on your website without actually stocking it at your store.
Our catalog's over 17,000 items at varying stock levels depending what it is. But we're committed to, trust me, everything's always on order. And we want to be in stock to help you, service the heart of your dealer's needs, keep your firearm counter display stocked with the products that you need, plus enable this business, to continue growing this business with your endless aisle of offerings and leverage what we have, make it yours and dedicate the resources to it and do SEO and email marketing and everything else that goes around with it and really drive sales and foot traffic into your stores.
Absolutely. All right, so key takeaways. We talked about a lot of different things. We have tons of questions flowing in. So we've got 6 minutes left, which is great. We'll get to all these questions. We might go a little over, so bear with us. We'll go through all the questions because there's some really good ones there. But key takeaways, it's, automating your business, centralizing systems, having disconnected systems is not going to really help because then there's still so much manual data entry because they're not speaking to each other. Being able to sync your inventory. I mean, we didn't talk about marketplaces. We didn't talk about so much, but having all of that in a system where your inventory is synced, it really helps you manage everything more efficiently and not have overselling. We didn't get into automated ordering. There's so many different aspects of technology that we could talk through. But coming to these types of sessions, we do these sessions all the time. Once a month, I host webinars, whether it's with the FFL guys or it's with Ant USA for merchandise planning, different reporting sessions. We're always hosting educational sessions. So join these sessions and listen and learn. And like I always say, even if you take 1 or 2 little nuggets back, it's worth the 45 minutes. We do have a take quiz here on the bottom if you are interested in just taking a quick quiz to see which of our Celerant systems might be right for your business. And that's just celerant.com/quiz. I will put this slide up, which just has all of our contact info. Lipsey's, FastBound, 4473 Cloud, and of course us at Celerant. But let's get to the questions because there are actually many coming in. So I will read each one through. So the first one is Timothy. Jameson, this will be for you. How does FastBound work in a state? How does FastBound work in a state that controls NIC checks such as Connecticut?
So we have a tool for NICs. It's our browser extension. It'll take the information from the 4473 and it populates the NIC site. We have that same tool and we built it for most of the point of contact states where you just click a button within the 4473. It just says Connecticut. You click on it, you log in, use your credentials on their site. And then if you have a little, the browser extension enabled, it'll just take the information and paste it in there for you. Once you submit that background check, then you just copy the response and then you'll paste that into 27B, your NTN number or your Connecticut number, and then hopefully you're getting to proceed and you check that box. Great.
All right, will there be a recording of this session to watch later? Absolutely. Doug, we're recording this and we're gonna send an email out to everybody who registered shortly after the session. It'll also get posted on YouTube. Our Celerant YouTube channel, as all of these sessions do. Michael is asking, do you have to purchase any hardware in addition to the monthly subscription? So I'm not sure which of us you're asking that for, so we can both answer it quickly. On the Celerant side, yes, the monthly SaaS is for the software. So whether you just have a brick and mortar store, or you just have e-commerce, or you have both. We have different monthly SaaS subscriptions for all of those scenarios, and hardware would be in addition. We don't require that you purchase new hardware. We run on most hardware, so depending on what you have, it might work. Or if you want to purchase new hardware, we can of course offer that, or we can just give you the minimum specs and you can buy that yourself as well. Jamie, you want to answer that on your side?
Yeah, the same thing. You can use the computer that you're processing Celerant through with FastBound to log into the back portal. And then the 4473s, we give you a landing page. You can use an iPad, Chromebook, pretty much anything that has an updated browser that's attached to the internet for the buyers to fill out the 4473. We also give you a QR code so buyers can scan and fill out the 4473 on their smartphones.
Got it. All right, Michael again asked, what other distributors do you integrate with besides Lipsey's? So again, I'm assuming that's for us at Celerant. So I will say this, of course, hopefully everybody orders from Lipsey's.
I'll answer that. Look, we don't live in a bubble.
Right.
You have to run your business efficiently. Celerant's integrated with everyone, right? We're one of many options. We hope to be your best option and do the best job we can for you. But anybody you want to work with is in the platform. I mean, easy to get set up with us though.
Yeah, we have 25 hunt, camp, fish, firearms distributor integrations. We've got probably over 60 distributor integrations in total, across all markets, but for the firearms industry, it's around 25. So I would say most of our dealers, they're integrating with 2 to 4. I mean, some of our dealers are even integrating to like 8 or 9. So it just depends on your business, depends on, what you're looking to do and with who, but of course, you can also set prioritization of vendors. You can set all that up in the settings. And of course, hopefully everybody is ordering from Lipsey's and has Lipsey's, high up there in that prioritization, of course. Okay, next, and this is James. For Celerant, can we get a step-by-step process of how to set up distributor product feeds? Absolutely. So what we'll do is I can send you an email after the live session and have your account rep walk you through all of this. And I'll say this, we used to charge for distributor integrations. We don't even charge for distributor integrations any longer. We really are encouraging our retailers to use distributor integrations as much as possible. So we're not charging anything extra for it. We encourage you to do it, and we'll help you do it. So if it's e-commerce and you want to use the online feed, we'll set it up for you. If it's automated ordering or catalog import at the POS, our implementation team will help you set it all up, teach you how to use it, help you set min-max levels. We'll really help you do whatever you're looking to do. Just let us know.
And on our side, if you can log into lipsey.com and order right now, you're already set up. Same email address and password. You just give it to them. They plug it everywhere in the back end to enable it to work. So very easy setup on the Lipsey side.
Awesome. Okay, so next one is Mark. So on the 4473 that is filled out online, what happens if someone fills it out incorrectly or checks a box incorrectly? Will it block the sale, and or can you correct that if it was indeed a mistake? Will it forever keep them from purchasing a firearm?
So on the 4473, if somebody answers a question and disqualifies them, it is going to allow them to sign it. And then when you pull it up and attach that contact to the 4473, it's going to give you a big warning and says, hey, this person answered this question incorrectly. At that point, you could void the 4473 and either print it out and save it as a void no transfer, or you send it over to 4473 Cloud as a void no transfer. If you deem that that individual incorrectly answered it, you could go into the contact and change it from denied or caution, because we're going to block that for you. We want to protect you. So if they did actually come in and say, yes, I'm a felon, like, we don't want them to come back and change their answer. So we do have that control in there, but it's super easy with user access. You just go in there, change the contact, and then you allow them to go back and fill out a new 4473.
All right. Another question here from Nick: who helps design the websites? So again, I'll speak on behalf of Celerant. So if you purchase a Celerant e-commerce website, whether it's Cumulus e-commerce or Stratus e-commerce, we have a team, our e-commerce team. We have designers on the team, and so with Cumulus, it's more templatized, but there's a lot of flexibility in the design. With Stratus e-commerce, we will build a completely custom design, and our designers do it, but they of course work with your team. Even on the Cumulus side, our team works with your team the entire step of the way, but we're actually building the site and designing it on your behalf. Joe has a question: will there be integration with other POS software in the future? So just like Erin so eloquently answered before, I'll do the same. So, like I always say, whether you're using our software or not, we are hoping to educate and teach. So Jameson also is integrated to multiple point of sale vendors. None of us here are exclusive because our dealers want options, and we want to educate and give you all the options that work best for your business. Okay, next question. So this is for Jameson, or no, this is actually for Travis. This is Matthew. Hello, I already have FastBound for the 4473 and for my bound book. I do not have the cloud storage set up yet. What is the process of setting up the cloud?
Yeah, it's super simple. So you're already set up with FastBound. You can actually go into your FastBound account and go to your Jameson, the billing page, right? And you can turn on the toggle button there, and then they will give you a link. This is very important. Just because you turn it on in FastBound does not automatically create an account in 4473 Cloud. So we actually have a dedicated account creation page with FastBound. They give you that link, click that link, fill out the information. As soon as you fill that information out, you'll get a welcome email from us, and the integration will be automatically turned on. And what you'll see in FastBound is the little blue, I think it's blue, right, Jameson, print button will automatically flip over to say, send to 4473 Cloud, and you will immediately be able to do that.
The easiest, if you're using FastBound already, just jump on the chat on that bottom right. Our response time is 3 minutes. So I always like to brag about that. We've got a great support team, and that's one of the things that really makes us stand out. So I'm going to throw in that shameless shout out, but it's less than a 3-minute response. The guys can give you the link. They can help you get set up and turn it on, and you can digitally be saving by the end of the day. You just have to keep printing them out, like Travis said, for the next 60 days.
and we'll help you through all of that as well, right? Once you connect to us through FastBound, we'll start sending you emails and communication to you. But Jameson's right. Within 5 minutes of filling out the get started form, your account will be created. You'll get a welcome email, and you'll be ready to go. It's super simple.
Well, Matt just jumped in and said, you guys are awesome. I've used the live chat a lot. So, all right,
Jameson paid him for that.
We went over, but we still have 3 questions left, so we'll keep going. If you got to jump, it's okay. But let's just answer these last couple of questions just so that we can answer everybody. So next question is, how much do these systems cost? So we'll go around the horn here really quick. I'll start with Celerant. Again, it's going to vary if you're purchasing Cumulus or Stratus. Cumulus is our lighter, more cost-effective solution, priced a bit lower, really intended for those smaller merchants. Stratus is our more enterprise solution, where if you're a more advanced retailer, you've got multiple stores, or you want a really custom e-commerce website with really high volume, that's going to be more Stratus. But for Cumulus, if you're just brick and mortar, that bundle starts somewhere around $185 a month. If you're brick and mortar store and e-commerce, most of our dealers on Cumulus are somewhere around, starting around $350 a month. It can go up. It depends on, all the different features you want to add on. But of course, we're happy to walk you through that. Our pricing's on our website too, celerant.com/pricing. Everything's there, super transparent. Jamie, go ahead.
Well, there is no integration fee between
Right.
Celerant and FastBound, so that's always important to call that out. And as FastBound, we start off at $9 a month, 100 guns a year. If you're just getting started, and then it goes up from there. It's $9 a month. It's $24, 500 guns a year, 34,000, up to 10,000 items a year, based off acquisitions. That's $99 a month, and then we continue to build up past that.
Awesome. Next question.
Yeah.
How much is it monthly? Again, we answered that, but also look on our websites, because everything's on our websites too.
And real quick, Michelle, just to jump in on the cloud service is separate from FastBound, so it is billed separately. But just as Jameson said, it's all based on volume. So if you do as little as 100 forms a year, it's $24 a year. It's $2 a month, right? So it starts super inexpensive, and it keeps that as you go up in tier, but it's all based on volume. So the more you sell, obviously, the more forms you store, the more it'll be. But typically, somewhere between $5.99 a month or $71 a year through about $300 to $500 a year is what digital storage costs. And I just want to point out that if you're already printing 4473s from whether it's FastBound or a different digital 4473 solution, you're spending at least twice that much to print a 4473 and put it in a banker's box in your back room.
Yeah.
On the Lipsey side, it's free to open an account. There's no integration fees. There may be some shipping costs on orders depending on variables, but as long as you're in good standing, you can hook it up easy.
Just got to pay for that product.
Yep, just got to pay.
Next question. How much, I'm using Celerant, how much is it to add on these features? So if you're already using Celerant and you already have Celerant eCommerce, if you don't have eCommerce, then of course you'll need to add on eCommerce first to add on some of the things we've been talking about here today. But if you're using our eCom and our in-store, all these integrations on our side cost nothing extra. We have our own internal A&D book. We have hundreds of dealers who use FastBound. The integration costs nothing. We don't charge for that. We no longer charge for integration fees for distributor integrations. And it's a value add. We want our dealers to choose what works best for their business, and we really want to offer all these options so you can pick and choose what works the best. So again, speak with your account rep, because of course, if you don't have e-commerce and you need to add e-commerce on, there's going to be a fee for that, of course, because we got to build your site. Does Celerant integrate with WooCommerce? We do. We integrate with WooCommerce and a couple others. So we call that a third-party e-commerce integration. But I will say this, with those third-party integrations, the inventory syncs, the orders do flow in, but the distributor integrations are, for us, they need to live with the Celerant e-commerce. So when you have a Celerant e-commerce with your Celerant software at the store, that's where all these distributor integrations can come into play. If we're doing a third-party integration to, say, WooCommerce, then our platform, the distributor integrations are definitely more challenging, if even possible. So talk to your account rep just to get more information there and talk through it. Okay, I think there's one question here left, and this is Kevin. Sorry, Kevin. Last but certainly not least, I currently use an e-commerce integration company I don't like. Is it hard to switch? So no, it's not. I mean, it's not. Listen, switching softwares, whether it's point of sale or e-commerce, is never easy, right? I mean, it's not something that dealers enjoy doing, and it's probably not something dealers want to do more than what? I mean, they used to say once every 5 years. But we really do work with our dealers to try to make it as easy as possible. I will say with Celerant, whether you're purchasing Cumulus or Stratus, you're going to get a dedicated implementation manager. And this is your single point person who's going to help you do everything from the moment you sign the contract until you go live. Whether it's software training, like I mentioned earlier, we've got our design team. We're going to build the site. We're going to sync up the distributor feeds. We're really going to help you every step of the way. And how long will it take to go live is the follow-up to that usually. It's going to depend. It depends if it's Cumulus or Stratus. It depends how much you're able to work with our team. But if we're all working together and it's moving along well, Cumulus e-commerce, I mean, that can go live in I'd say 4 to 6 weeks. Of course, we've had scenarios where clients needed to be live in a week. And then we've had scenarios that took months. So it really varies on a lot of factors. And then of course with Stratus, if we're building out a whole custom website, that obviously takes more time. All right, I think we got through all the questions. We did go 12 minutes over, so thank you. Most everybody stayed, so thanks everybody for staying long and joining us. And as always, Jameson, Travis, Aaron, thanks guys for joining.
See y'all.
Thanks,
Have a
y'all.
great day.
Bye.
Everybody.
Have a good one.